You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for your support of The Coffee Hour. You can find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
We have he's become a reoccurring guest on The Coffee Hour, which is very exciting. We get to talk about theology and art in the form of hip-hop music today. We have Flame joining us again, Grammy-nominated and Stellar Award-winning hip-hop artist. Thank you so much for joining us again, Flame.
Yes, glad to be back. Round 3. It's a good number.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, round 3. You have been very busy lately since the last time we talked, which was for the release of Christ for You, if I remember right.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, you've been super busy. Following you on social media, I think I see a new post from you like every day or something. Some new thing, a lot of stuff happening. So we're going to cover, I don't know, a lot of that today in our time together. So give us like a high level overview of what you've been up to since we talked to you last.
Yes. I would say overall, what I've been up to is Extra Nos Academy. And that is just an umbrella world of edutainment. So, yes, my goal is to entertain through information, through theological information, with the goal of practically serving people along the way. So that's sort of the overarching theme of what I've been up to.
So tell me more about Extra Nos Academy. What is Extra Nos Academy? Like, is this a school I go to? Tell me more about this.
Yes, the moment you inquire, you are an enrolled student. So
nice.
Welcome. We owe you both a welcome packet when we see first.
Yeah.
But so basically what it is, it's a hub that includes a new podcast that will be unveiled soon. It includes new material as far as music is concerned that will further unpack Lutheran thought and its application to our regular, mundane, daily lives. It'll include a conference curriculum. So it's just a tool to come alongside of local churches that are trying to bridge the gap between the people and these ancient truths that are worth discussing. So I've been working super hard behind the scenes to establish that and to get it going and to have a social media presence, YouTube presence, and it's going great so far. So I'm excited.
Outstanding. So tell us more about how you got to Extra Nos Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, from recording hip hop albums and singles to how did you get to this Extra Nos Academy and this platform for engagement with Lutheran theology?
Yeah, so really the way it started was my experience in the Christian rap genre. What I've discovered over the years is that people do have an appetite for doctrine and theology. They actually want to know more about their faith, but oftentimes they don't have the space or the time to dive in deeply. So they pretty much catch what they can when they can. So I thought, man, it would be great to be wedged in that space, providing soundbite snapshots and long-term material for people that are on the go, but they want to know more about their faith. So Extra Nos Academy really just developed out of my theological journey where I parted ways with the Reformation tradition that stems from the Calvinistic camp. And I was exposed to Lutheran thought. And I was like, man, most people don't know that there is other aspects to the Reformation, in at least as far as my circle is concerned. So I really wanted to just hone in on that, to organize it, to structure it, and to just put my creative mind to depicting these church history special moments in the arts. So that's why I talk about conferences. That's why what we're doing now is we're trying to put together sort of like a Broadway play, I guess, like a way to depict moments in church history where people can come to a theater and see these characters depicted on stage. So those are the things that I'm working on now, because it's something about the imagination that it has a way of allowing information in that otherwise you would probably keep at bay through the raw intellect. But through the arts, people will let new information in a less, I guess, defensive way. So I'm like, I'm about to ride this wave so people can really hear the simple thing about their faith, which is God is for us and he's delivering grace to us in a multiplicity of ways. So more fuel for the fire, more tools in the artillery belt to ward against the world, the flesh, and the devil. And people need it and they want it. So they just got to see it.
Yeah. Man, you are branching out into so many different creative genres, stemming out from the Extra Nos EP that you had in Christ for You, and the new one that we'll talk about in just a little bit. What have you been learning? How have you been growing as an artist, branching out into all of these different things that are it's so much more than just a hip hop EP now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's two things I'm always trying to get better at, which is clarity and simplicity. So if I can really learn something, that's just serve me in explaining it in the most simple terms. Even if I have to offer new definitions, even if I have to introduce words that have more than 4 letters, but if I can at least explain it in a way that's palatable, that's clear, people most of the time will at least say, "Oh, I get that." Even if they don't agree, at least they can understand what they disagree with. So I would like to think over the course of time, I'm trying to get better at those two factors, simplicity and clarity. So yeah, I think, as we said, we'll talk about a little later. Hopefully that's what this latest project, Word and Water, will communicate.
In a simple way. That sounds familiar.
Huh.
Pretty consistent, right?
It's like you're Lutheran or something.
The perspicuity, I've heard that word thrown around somewhere. Seriously.
So I want to get to the newest music in just a moment, but I just lost my question. I had a really good question.
It's going to come back. Just let it fizzle. Let it fizzle out, then it'll build back up.
All right. Well, let's talk about.
Do you want to talk about the? You mentioned Broadway.
I'll let it go. Oh man, yeah. There are so many opportunities there. I have to be in theaters.
Think Hamilton. Yeah. Think Hamilton, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what I wrote in the notes. So, are you teaming up with Lin-Manuel Miranda for this?
Maybe no. I need to. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I have people that are interested that are like, this is a great idea. Let's do it. So, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. So bring us then to this next theme of Word and Water. Tell us how this theme has made its way into all the things that you're doing. I see talks on your YouTube channel. I know that you've got another EP dropping very soon. What is Word and Water? What is this theme?
Yes. So Word and Water is how we define baptism. So baptism is like a partnership between regular water, which the Lord sort of sanctifies, if you will, and God's word, his promise to forgive, his promise to save. And those two things are joined together. They make the sacrament baptism. And oh my goodness, it's such a large topic. I could literally do a part 3, just trying to unpack what baptism is. So, that was the first thing I discovered in trying to artistically narrow it down. Like, what are the basic essentials for a collection of people that probably haven't thought about baptism in any other terms other than it being our first act of obedience and an outward sign of an inward change? How do I take this ancient idea that has been preserved in Lutheran thought and present it to people who will necessarily hear it as weird, off-putting, and it's going to register in their minds as a work. So I have to do the work of showing them that it's not a work, that it's God's work, if we want to call it a work. So the point is, yet again, God is delivering grace to us, showing us that he's for us in more than one way, more than just the raw intellect. He's getting his good things to us in a variety of ways, which should make us happy and to thank him for caring for us in all of these different ways as we're struggling through our life, to serve our neighbor and to be consistent with who we actually are. God has not just given us one weapon, he's given us many. So I think once people can sort of slow down, when they get over the uncomfortable stage of the discussion, my prayer is that they will hear the sweetness of it, and then we can get to the simple thing about it and how useful and practical the sacrament is. So that's what I'm hoping to unpack in this next EP, Word and Water.
Yeah, that baptism is a huge, huge topic,
Yes.
but it's so foundational to so many things in our doctrine and in our daily lives and vocations. It connects to so many different things. So it's a large project to tackle that in a short little EP.
Yeah, seriously. It's so, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's so funny. One of my friends, he was quoting Luther to me, and he was like, I believe Luther that all of life is repentance. And I was like, great. So hold on to that. So I was like, the context of that is baptism. Well, what do you mean? And, that sort of opened up the door to have that conversation, because people love Luther's contribution, but oftentimes it's been extracted from the broader context of what he was actually wrestling with in his day and time. So people will have a connect point with the subject matter if they're already thanking God for Luther's contribution, as well as the rest of the Lutheran reformers. But I think this will just further drive that stake in the ground, and they can understand more of how all of life is repentance, stemming from what God is doing in baptism.
Yeah, this is the third in your kind of hip hop variations on the six chief parts, as I like to view it.
Nice.
But how have you started having more of these conversations? How is this opening the door for you to have these conversations with people who are familiar with what you're talking about, but view it from a different point of view?
Yeah, it's been incredible. So one, I have a docuseries that I just released on my YouTube channel. And so we're on episode 2 now. But outside of us just goofing around and having fun, at the end of every night, we had a powwow where we just strictly talked about baptism. And in the room, what you'll hear is sort of just the generic American understanding of baptism. But it's been so good for people to slow down and think about a subject that they value, because most people either were baptized or they want to be baptized, but the way that they understood it was, me really showing God that I'm ready for him, that I'm living so consistent that this is the next step to prove or further build on my consistency. And when people realize that may be an extra burden you're adding to yourself, that may be more pressure to look within, to examine yourself and see if you match up to some standard out there. So like this moving target that you're always aiming for, to see if you're ready for baptism or if you're worthy of your baptism. I'm finding that most people are excited to hear it in a new light, which is really an old light. They're excited to hear, wow, I'm not to consider my own piety in such a way that would make me worthy, but I am to see baptism as God's gift to me. And you could feel the oxygen coming into the room, and you could feel the joy sort of entering into the person's eyes as they're seeing something that they haven't seen. Even as they're a little turbulent, the turbulence is good because it's good news. I'm not adding an extra burden. I'm not coming in saying, you need to be baptized in this manner. You need to think about baptism in this manner or else. I'm coming in with sweet news. And I think even throughout the turbulence of the conversation, they're willing to stay on the flight and not eject and shoot the parachute out, because it's good news. It's sweet news. And so that's overall what I would say has been the response from, seminary professors, pastors, laypersons alike. I'm having great discussion about it, and I think it's really healthy. So, to be continued.
Yeah.
We're talking with Flame, a Grammy-nominated and Stellar Award-winning hip-hop artist. We have more to chat about with Flame in just a moment. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
At Concordia University, Wisconsin, we believe you were created for a reason: to use your God-given gifts to help others, to live a life of self-sacrifice in a me-first world, to live a life that's uncommon. Whether you're taking one of 50-plus online programs or learning with us in person on the shores of Lake Michigan, you'll be equipped to make an uncommon impact. Learn more at cuw.edu. Concordia University, Wisconsin. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
We're talking with Flame, Grammy-nominated and Stellar Award-winning hip-hop artist, about all of the recent creative endeavors, and there's a long list of them, and also his latest EP, Word and Water. And we've been talking about the theology of baptism, how deep and rich it is in our Lutheran tradition. What was the creative process like for this EP? Did you kind of, branch out into try some new things with this EP?
Yeah, I did. So one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted it to feel sort of like medieval. So I was like, man, how do I capture that mood sonically in sound without it feeling like a dirge that sort of brings you down? So that was the first task, was to try to figure out the sound palette. And so I reached out to my producer, and I just sent him a bunch of random medieval clips of lutes and, these sounds out of the that time period. And he's like, okay, what is this? And I'm like, this is what we're about to produce in a hip hop format, in a way you can dance and at the same time listen and learn. He's like, all right, this is the strangest combination of things. Let's figure it out. And so we did that. And, I may have reached out to a certain young lady on this particular interview, Sarah, I think her name is. And I was like, you know what? I'm trying to find some good Lutheran hymns on baptism. And you served me well by giving me a list of things to consider. So, I'm not going to say too much, but people will hear how it turned out. And I'm super excited about it. But that was the first thing. And, and then after that, it was like, okay, now let me try to narrow down the basic pillars of this idea so that maybe I can do a part two and build on top of this stage.
I did give you a list, but you came to the official hashtag hymn nerd.
So yeah, truly.
So tell us about this new EP. First of all, when does it drop? When can we get it? And what should we be expecting when we get it? So you did something different, something unique. Lutes, harps.
I'm so excited.
Total medieval experience. So yeah,
good question. So basically, it's like it's fun. It's fun. It's it's a very cohesive sound. So I think from top to bottom, you're going to feel like it's a movie. You're going to feel like you're in a world. So I think it's going to be easy listening, how it flows from one track to the next. So that was something that we were very keen on, was to make the art feel like an experience, feel like you're listening to a movie soundtrack. So hopefully, that'll set the stage for the visuals at the concert and stuff like that. But I think people will also, they're going to hear a lot of new information, new terminology, and you're definitely going to need your Google tab open on your cell phone, your laptop, so you can see, okay, what is this? Who is this person? Because I'm name dropping a bunch of dead guys and and women who contributed much to this topic. And then ultimately, I think what people will expect is a newfound appreciation for God's kindness, I believe. And I think when people are stimulated by God's kindness, they want to get out and serve their neighbor. They feel free enough to not think they have to prove something to God, to not think that they're so unworthy that they can't even make mention of God's name because they feel ashamed of this or that. They'll be liberated from those sort of internal wrestlings. And then they'll feel like, man, you know what? I want to be good at what I do. I'm baptized. I can lean in on that. And I just thank God. And I'm free to live and to love and to serve. So I really think that's the bedrock of the project. That's what I get from it. And, you know, is it weird to not listen to my own music? But
Not weird.
I literally get that feeling when I leave the project. I'm just like, man, I want to do more, not to earn anything from God, but I want to continue to give. So I think people are going to have the same parallel experience. April 29th is when this project releases. It'll be out everywhere music is sold. We got a music video coming as well. So that's going to be new because I haven't done a music video for either EP, Extra Nos or Christ for You. This will be the first time I'm bringing that to the fore. And I got a bunch of skits that'll be following where I have this character. His name is Wake 'em, Shake 'em. And he's just, he's this guy that thinks he knows everything. So he's interacting with me as to what baptism is. So that's fun. And so just a lot of stuff. So yeah, April 29th.
Yeah, Wake 'em, Shake 'em is hilarious. Yeah, listeners can find all of that on your social media platforms. The first day that Wake 'em, Shake 'em showed up, I was rolling in laughter. It was great.
Yeah, he's a wild boy, so yeah.
Now you mentioned concerts. Are you back on tour? What's coming up? What's coming up for you down the road? You've got this new EP. You have all of these new creative things happening. What's coming up in the next couple of months for you then?
Yes, for sure. So I'll be on the road. People can, see my tour schedule as I post it on social media. But yeah, I'm going to be all over the place. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to find 3 spots, one in the Midwest, one in the Southern region, and one up north, where it's sort of like a CD or EP release party. And so we'll be posting more information about that soon. So stay tuned to my social media or extranosacademy.com, and I'll be letting people know where I will be. But yep, touring is picking back up, and I'm excited to just get out on the road. And the funny thing is, after the concert, that's when it really goes down because people want to ask me questions. Okay, all right, you said this, you said that. What about this? What about that? And it's just always fun hanging out after the show. So yep, check for me there.
That sounds like, I mean, concerts sound like a big venue, but those after the concert conversations sound like more like coffee house type settings where you can sit around and have good chats.
Yes. Yes.
Man.
And I'm trying to introduce that to the concert environment. So the idea with the 3 stops, it's going to be performing the songs, and then we'll have a space in that time to address the songs. So after people have heard them and danced to them and engaged them as, the entertainment, then we'll be able to do a Q&A and a talk about the ideas and let people, really sort of wrestle with them out loud in front of other people. Because sometimes questions in a room stimulate other questions and people are like, yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. And then it just really gets the momentum going. And we can get that simplicity and that clarity. So that'll be a part of the EP release concerts, is that Q&A session as well as the talk about the topic.
Huh.
So when are you coming to the studio next is the real big question. We got to have you in studio. Hopefully you can come to St. Louis, come visit us in the studio. Again, what are the websites where we can find all your great work?
Yes. The major hub is Extra Nos Academy. com. Everything is spelled normally. I know as a hip hop artist, normally there's a Z where there's an S and there's an I where there's a Y, but it's just extranosacademy.com. So you can go there and see everything. But actually, I will be in St. Louis for the Multicultural Symposium coming up. So, hey, maybe I can stop through. But yeah, I would love to be back in studio. That'll be nostalgic and that'll be fun. So,
outstanding.
Yes.
Oh man.
Well, Flame, it has been awesome to have you on again, talking about your music and theology and theological artistry. I think we've coined that term before we went on air today, theological artist.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us today, talking about baptism and all things Flame.
Yes. Thank you all so much. And last thing, if people can go to YouTube and just search Extra Nos Academy, you'll see all of the Extra Notes at Nights playlist and music video and all that stuff there. So, thank you for having me. Always fun to hang out with both of you all.
Flame, Grammy nominated and Stellar Award-winning hip-hop artist. Find him at extranosacademy.com and on social media and on YouTube. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support The Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.